Okay, hey, this is Cameron. Actually, going to be trying this out on the desktop this time because I figured it's actually a little bit better. I saw you doing this, Clement, with kind of the desktop record too, and you're wondering how I was doing a bunch of this stuff, how I was getting the grid lines on stuff. I'm gonna kind of go over that for fun too, just at the end here because you're curious. But here we have my drawing this week, which I have on the computer already. It's not uploaded at the moment, and it went a lot better. We didn't use the grid system this time. You can kind of see I made again. I really like kind of taking a ruler's length from each edge of the page is what I physically did here to kind of get my hand spots to work with. It's not as much of a problem in this, but I just tend to like it because my hand's not off the edge of the paper this way pretty much anywhere. I can rotate it any way I need. It's not as much of a thing for this 2 point drawing. But I did actually find this one helpful, more so than the 1 point drawing. Now, this is the picture of a childhood home, which was actually quite a fun project for me and something that I've actually done before in some capacity. Now, I might live at Shuswap now, but I've lived in Calgary, St. Albert, Edmonton, Abbotsford, Chilliwack twice, and Abbotsford, and now Shuswap. So, there's a lot of houses to go off of, but when I figure what my childhood house is, it's St. Albert, which I lived at from ages 3 to 8, 1998 to 2002 or so. And it's just one of my favorite houses. I think that's probably why I consider it childhood house. I've actually recreated this before in a video game, of course, called Minecraft. I've tried to recreate it to almost like 2 times scale because everything's built with blocks and that. I actually tried to find that if I still had that around. I did that about 5 years ago. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the file, but we could get a full scale thing of it. I'll actually need to look up the actual house too because we did this all from memory. Um, and it went pretty well. It was pretty simple. I think I'll show off why I didn't pick, say, maybe the Edmonton house. That would also have been from ages 8 to 15, also considered childhood. Abbotsford, I was 15 to 21, so, we're getting pretty recent at that point. And then, I mean, we're sitting here at 26 in a few days here, so probably by the time this is up, it's my birthday, in fact. But this is the St. Albert House, which is a little bedroom city outside of Edmonton. So using the 2 points, I did find it a lot easier. Having more time to watch the demo this week, admittedly, than I did last, which is kind of funny because the way things have gone this week, going into town to work as a teacher, student teacher twice a week, and now they're baseball's allowed, so getting back into that twice a week as well in Kamloops is a lot of driving if you know the Shuswap to Kamloops drive. So finding time for this was, we kept things simple. We're doing this all on Friday morning, and I actually have to go back to Kamloops again to pick up my car. That's life happens. The fuel line was leaking. It's fun stuff. So it's been a bit of a busy week. I didn't think I saw a second project. So I think we're doing okay. Hopefully with just this, but I did keep things simpler. We kind of went with the box shape. I wanted to leave a lot of the kind of lines you showed us intact, like if you can see my mouse, yeah, my mouse cursor should show it up in there. The different kind of X's and stuff going on that would have got the peak of the roof for the garage there. I did that originally here, but as you can see, I kind of wanted to leave these lines, but for the most part, there's a lot of clutter going on the front of the house here, so I kind of ended up having to erase a lot of that. And the other comment I would make is, yeah, everything was done with a ruler, but sometimes just the giant eraser I have trying to get a window that maybe went too far here and smudge it a bit. It's, I just drew it back in by hand, and it kind of looks like it wasn't done by a ruler, so my apologies there, but I didn't want to get too picky on it. Same with this. This is all ruler, but it was kind of an overhang, I remember, on the door. But yeah, this is... I have looked at Google Maps since, and I have things pretty close to what they were, and we'll show that later just for fun. Basically, what we had was this house that had like an entranceway here. I think it was more of like a glass door, which I tried to represent here, but it kind of just looks more like your stereotypical door with kind of 4 panels that are solid. And then the house would kind of go up a bit, and you'd be more on like a first floor level up around here where this window would look out on. And then the same entranceway would go down to the basement where you'd be able to see out the windows there, which is, of course, where we spent a lot of time watching TV and whatever we did as kids. My room would have been more not visible here. It would have been in the back, not the most back left, but the one next to the back left there. Like I said, I have very fond memories of this house. So we took it from this angle as well. I liked what you said about not putting the neighbors in. There obviously would be a neighbor here, and there'd be kind of a neighbor here that would pretty much be having their driveway like almost immediately next to our sidewalk. So I took a liberty there with when we put the fence in, because this fence really only kind of, looking at the image, stops and goes right there. Of course, that's in 2021 and not 2000, so who knows what's changed from owners since then. But everything worked out. I remember we had like a little step here, and then I couldn't quite remember. The sidewalk led to the driveway, which was almost a bit of a sunken effect, which I didn't replicate here. I thought that might be a little too hard, but basically the driveway would go down, and it would probably be ground level here, and then by the time we got to the end, it would be, maybe 4 inches down, enough that we had like little wood panel things kind of doing that and going there. And then the garage there. I didn't panel it because I wanted to leave, like I said, one of the X's intact, or the horizon line, but this was very helpful. I cited last week 1 point didn't really work for me, and I went with grid. But this really did, to kind of have the ruler coming from all these lines for just about everything. I noticed I kind of, maybe on this window here, maybe need to have like it come in like we did at the bottom here. I think it was more like a bay window kind of idea, I think's the name. And this window was pretty accurate. I couldn't remember if it was there or not. It is, but it was more of a big thing that was also 3-paneled, I believe. But we'll look up the Google Images here. Oh yeah, so we'll have that as well. But giving away my old address. Cool. See, I still remember this. I meant to have this ready to go. Sorry. So again, we can just go to Street View, which is what I've done before when I kind of recreated this in Minecraft before. I never actually fully finished that, but this is for memories from 2000, which obviously more accurately kind of recently. Not bad. Google Maps isn't the best because we kind of get some of these boulevard trees in the way and whatnot. And there was one thing I found kind of funny, because I remembered there was a tree here that I didn't want to tackle. And there was a tree we used to climb right on the grass here. And it's actually gone now. And it looks like whoever's been there maybe planted a tree, I don't know, like 6 years ago. It's kind of starting out again. So I have things a bit off in ways. I do remember this now. So our door didn't have window panels. It actually had like a weird side panel thing, which looks really nice. More of a step, probably wider than we did. The sidewalk's all pretty accurate, and if we can get the right angle, I can show you that sunken effect. Ooh, it's kind of been okay. So they've kind of re-cemented it rather than put a wood strip in here. This is really fun to look at, actually, for me. But as you can see, it does kind of start out at ground level, and the driveway does sink and sink and sink to the point where it's probably 6 inches down. We can't really tell with those garbage cans. That bay window, what's actually happening there is I was remembering the Edmonton kind of bay window that kind of protruded out in a weird, I don't know, like octagonal little way. But this one looks to be just kind of like 3-tiered windows, and then one that goes with the roof line there. So that's interesting. You can actually see that would be my window there as a kid. So we can show that off. Obviously, we're not at this angle, but you can kind of see the house better from here. Obviously, didn't include the neighbors here. Be a little bit much work, and kind of as I mentioned, if I did include that, our fence actually did just have a gate then stop because our next door neighbors are pretty much right there. But yeah, not far off, not bad on the window above the door. Again, it's kind of this nice 3-tiered thing on a wider effect that I don't think I replicated, but overall not too bad. Yeah, let's find our picture. The effect and the proportions look pretty accurate, I feel. But just, we can actually zoom in. I didn't realize that. Okay. One other one I want to look at just to kind of show other reason I didn't pick my, say, Edmonton house was I think it would be a lot more of a challenge. What was this? Edmonton Street View. So kind of fun anecdotal stuff on this. So this, if anyone's familiar with the Edmonton Oilers, this was Grant Fuhr's house. If you don't know, I'm looking up legendary goaltender. This was his house in the 70s, and how the heck did my parents afford that? Well, they didn't really. This house is really beat up and run down, and a lot of these renovations I think we still see here are from us. They basically did a house flipping thing, but I just figured with this one, I would have been 8 to 15 living at this one. And I don't know, trying to get it on an angle might have been more of a challenge just because we have this this kind of L effect, I remember, where you had to like walk underneath to the left to the garage. And as you can see, what I'm pointing out with that window there is what I was kind of remembering. So, we can't zoom in. So with this window, it kind of like came out on an angle, straight, angle, and it was kind of literally like this semicircle effect inside the house. And that's basically what I was remembering, I think, and I just kind of attribute it to the St. Albert house. But I was close to opting to do this one. I've actually recreated this before as well in Minecraft, just for fun. But it's it's just tougher. I feel if we got it from this angle, I don't know how we do it. There's like an overhang there. I just feel like it would be too much of a challenge and a time constraint. But it probably is. Honestly, given more time, the more fun house to replicate I would find. But yeah, for a bonus, if you're still wondering, I know I'm rambling on and on, but how am I getting those images with the grid on them, you asked? So I'm just going to take a picture of my dog here that we'd see there. So basically all we did is I used to and still do video edit a lot for be it theater or kind of recreationally YouTube back in the day. And I have a video editing program which I'll actually run this through as well. So it kind of helps having these knowledge of how to work with things. And it's not like a photo editor by any means, but I knew that there can be a grid system on it. So if we start almost like video editing this picture of the dog, basically what we need to do is I'd need to understand that I need to basically stretch it a bit, change the proportions of the image. First of all, modify it, and then there's the grid system right there. And I can change that. These are all those things I remember. I can change it. I can make it 7x7. Whatever I figured was best. I think I'm usually opting for like a 4x4 or 5x5, I think is what we're on. And typically, kind of the photos I've been doing are, this is landscape right now. The other one, portrait. So they'd be portraits, so it would get a bit tougher. So basically, again, just with my knowledge, what I'd have to do with that is go in here, flip this, and it'll snap to horizontal. And then again, we'd have to like stretch it, unfortunately, which is not, again, this is already kind of a landscape photo, so not the best example of what I've already been dealing with. Again, just I'm a big Windows guy, big knowledge of how this stuff works. All we do here is Control-Alt print screen, search up Paint, put it on there, paste. Where is it? Rotate left. Yeah, rotate left. Take the image, slide it up to the left, and then pretty much cut the image down to whatever grid we'd be using, like that. Again, not the best example, a bit sloppy, missing part of the grid, obviously. But basically the idea I was going with there, and then we end up with that grid in a way that's not too intrusive, and in a way that I could basically be like, oh, okay, so his eye starts, about the same length from each of those, all the usual processes we would go through with that. Yeah, so that's, you're wondering, basically I just have a lot of knowledge on how to do this already, and that's all there really is to it. And that's how we did that. That's probably how I'll continue to do that. I like the grid system. I think I see what happened here. I think this is too zoomed in. Yeah, no, the actual surface area of what the image would be is a little bit zoomed in. Again, acknowledge that. Maybe just drop it to 100% or Yeah, 200%. And then basically print screen, use paint, paste, rotate it, just cut out all this other stuff like the video editing aspects, right? So yeah, I don't know. I'm glad you appreciate the videos. Hopefully they don't take too long. Trying to keep things as concise as I can, but I do find it does let me get a lot of anecdotes and whatever in that I feel like. But not bad overall. Not unhappy with this. Not a masterpiece by any means, and that's okay. I feel like again, it's teaching me things that if I wanted to pursue it and spend more time on it and had more time, I definitely know I could do it. We could work with this and reference the well, it's on Edmonton still, but the Google Images and kind of work from that. Yeah, that's basically the aspects of this. Okay, that's about probably all I'm gonna get out for this week. I guess the fence I was gonna address. I kind of like this is a bit different. I know I didn't like maybe do the weird vaulted things, which we didn't see in the image, but I know we had, the kind of pointed boards. Kind of what I thought I'd go with here, just on a whim, was when you'd read like I don't know comic books or something. I didn't do a ton of it, or just watch a cartoon as a kid, and to kind of represent a fence or bricks, say, rather than like say this was a brick wall, which it wasn't, but Edmonton was. They just kind of like put in like 5-6 bricks, and then 5-6 bricks, and then 5-6 bricks, just kind of randomly throughout the wall, rather than trying to brick the whole thing. I kind of went with that here because I feel like with fences you'd kind of see like more cartoony, like you'd see the seams in the boards, but each one would be a little bit different and stylistically just kind of divided at different spots. So I went with that just for fun, and I actually really like the way it looks. I think it gets across the point that it's a fence, but again, the fence probably ends on this board and cuts in. But yep, that's it. Take care. Thanks.